Hey, what's up? This is Laidback Luke, DJ and producer, Kung Fu athlete, and dedicated dad. I just came out of Halloween weekend. It was amazing, a ton of shows. I did premiere in Atlantic City, the Hammerstein Ballroom, a big event for WeWork in NYC, played Lavo afterwards in NYC as well. And then Miami at 11 on Halloween as well. But no shows this vlog. I'm super happy to be deconstructing my official Jackie Chan remix for you in this tutorial. Before I give the shout out to the comments of last week to the Amsterdam dance event vlog I made. The Mixmash Amsterdam dance event after movie is officially online. Plus I have episode 3 up right now, shot by my official videographer during Amsterdam dance event, talking about competition between DJs. And is there competition really? Shout out to the comments of last week. Very happy to see all your responses on the Amsterdam dance event vlog. Number 1, paranormal attack, and number 2 in the comments, and Nick as well. Thank you guys for giving me your thoughts and commenting below. And here's a special shout out as well. Leon Edwards giving me some unorthodox advice on how to deal with panic attacks and anxiety. Check it out. This post actually makes a lot of sense and I'm definitely gonna try that out. Definitely worth a shot as well, trying to do a couple of the things in the tutorial that I'm gonna explain to you right now. And so I'm excited to go into it with you. So before we dive into the tutorial, let me talk about the privilege of making an official remix. And so what's awesome about doing an official remix is that you always get all the stems loose from the official track. So here's you know, the bass line from the original Jackie Chan. Drums. So you even get effects, like in all the instruments and guitars right here. Obviously, the voice as well added to that. Here we go. She said she too young. She said she too young, don't want no man. Such luxury. So my remix is a Twisted House remix, and what makes Twisted House is the bleep. It's the tribal programming in there. But people have been asking me about how to make that exact bleep. And truth is, there's no exact way. It just needs to sound a little bit crazy. And in this Jackie Chan remix as well, I've had various ways on trying to reach that bleep. I wasn't able to do it. It took me until version 10 to finally have something that came near to what's in my head. So let's have a look at that in this tutorial right now. So let's just focus on this group right here, which is muted right now, but I'll let you listen what I have in there. So these are the sounds in there, the various layers. So that sounds different, huh? So there's this lead right here. I had a lower lead in here as well. And then I had it layered with this serum right here. So you can already hear that this sounds totally different. Another serum as well. Some people have been asking me how to make the Twisted House leads in serum. I always go into the basic shapes. Then I give the envelope one a little bit of a less of an attack. But I use that on various things. So the one thing that you need to know is, so obviously there's the filter cutoff, and I see envelope 3 is on here, which has a delayed attack as well. So with the attack on the filter cutoff, you'll get the wah in the beginning. And doing that on the master tune as well, you'll get a little bit of a wee in the beginning. This must have been like version 3 on how the lead sounded. So how I started, I didn't start out with serum. I actually started out with a sample that I came across. I think TM stands for like trap magic. Look, it's 150 BPM. It's some type of trap sample pack. And the sample literally goes like this. And I like the little wee-oo. So in the track as well, it goes short in these notes and it gets longer here. So you hear the little whoop in the end. And so I bounced the whole thing, and this is what it sounded like. This is pretty close, but I still wasn't happy. And what I did is, with the twisted house as well, I really want that breakdown house type of sound back. Break the house down. And so I sampled my old lead from Breakdown the House. So this is literally the lead from Breakdown the House. And I layered that upon the bleep I had bounced. So when it comes to effects, I'm always very abundant with the effects. I always throw around EQs like there's no tomorrow. So this is quite an extreme EQ here. But this goes into the Serum effects, which I love using the multi-band in here. It's kind of similar to the OTT plugin, where it really just amps up all frequencies in all areas. But then there's a limiter on it. There must have been a couple of peaks. LFO tool, I often use the LFO tool for basic shaping. I always see EQs as a new piece of canvas. So yes, I've EQ'd it here, but then on the end right here, I'll say, okay, so this is my blank canvas. Let's EQ it again. In a total, it sounds like this. And I was so happy to finally nail it. The essence in dance music, the thing that makes you want to dance in dance music, is the kick drum and the bass line. I had a lot of Latino people commenting on my YouTube channel that this is a certain type of Latin music type. If you know it, if you know what I'm talking about, make sure to leave your comments below. I have no clue. I'm Dutch and half Filipino. No real Latino roots or anything. So this is quite the coincidence. Let's go into the bass line right now. Got inspired by listening to the Mastic Elephant when it comes to this bass line. The bass line is from a synth that I think is very powerful. It's Reactor, and it's the Monarch. So for instance, I made the Funkin' Beats electro bass line in here. It's perfect for like analog type of fat sounds. That's basically the sound, and so I used the LFO here for the shaping as well. So this gives it that sidechain effect. And so from 240 Hertz, all this area is for the sub bass line. And the sub bass line I literally took from Serum, and it's just only this oscillator right here, the sub oscillator, -1 octave on the sinus, nothing going on elsewhere. And so that's basically it. But what I do like about the LFO tool as well in here is the specific shaping you can do to make it actually fit with the kick drum. On the group, I have more shaping going on, just a subtle less attack here, and over here I did the shaping towards the end, so this probably helps with like the sub bass line. And now the key is to fit it into the kick drum. So obviously you see me redlining the channels right here, which is no problem. Over here as well, which is no problem, because the master, within the master it stays within the red. So you can hear it distorting a little bit, which is fine. For like a synthy bass line, that's always a really nice little touch. I did want to take you through the effects as well, various loops that I used, what I added in the breakdowns as well, using the elements of the original. Here's the way that I did it. The thing is, I loved the original, and although I got all the stems, I really enjoyed just working with it as if it was a bootleg, really. So there's a clap along I added right here. And then we have this snare as well. This one is for my L's. So when I play, that's what I do. This snare climax though. So this pattern, I actually just stole from using a loop unsure which sample pack this is, but I added this in here. I was just sketching up the track, just having the drop run and then going into the climax, and I literally had that as a loop. And it ended up working so well that I just layered it with a snare that I programmed exactly the same. But so now it sounds more of my own, and so you can do that. You can take loops, you can cut the loops up, you can transpose them, or you can layer your own snare over it. This is a riser I see I had from the same sample pack. And so speaking of sample packs, a lot of people are obsessed with Splice right now. Splice is making moves. It's incredible, but within doing that, realize that everyone in the world has the access to the same sample packs. And so if you use things, make sure to tuck it in a little bit or tweak it a little bit. So I layered this one with my own wind effects. This is like an old remix I did for Tom Stefan, where I took it, and it's just a very simple white noise rising up, and that's pretty much it for the climax. Oh yeah, and so over here we have all of these as well. Short riser layered with a short reverse cymbal that I just took from the Vengeance Effects Essential House effects. And then going into the trap, I think it's Trap Masters, TM. It's like a little blast right here. Just on the drop. And now it's time to dive into the arrangement. I know a lot of you have troubles or struggling with the arrangement of a track. The arrangement of a track can be very simple, and the number one tip I always give people in learning how to arrange is go and load your favorite track in, the one that you listen to or love playing, an extended mix of something, and just make sure you notice and you see, you know, 16 bar intro going into break number 1. You note this going into the climax. How long is the climax? 8 bars. Then into the drop. How long is the drop? And by doing so, you create a little kind of like roadmap that you can use for your own track as well. Here's how I did it in the Jackie Chan remix. The first 16 bars of the extended mix. So there, dear people, there is an extended mix of Jackie Chan. It must be on iTunes or something. But in the extended mix, you actually get 16 bars of mix in times. So in the first 8, I often have no kick drum in there, and I use the little freaky bleep that I use in the second drop as well. Just another basic shape from Serum right here. Just a very short envelope. And I do have the envelopes going into the master tune as well, and LFO1 on the envelope 2 attack even. So this will vary. The LFO tool right here to shape it as well. This is without. So with it, it gets that little pump, not the wrapper. So 16 bars on the intro, and then I straight drop it into the Jackie Chan guitar. This is a moment of recognition on the dance floor. Whenever the people hear the guitar like chopping straight into that, it always gives an immediate response. And so this breakdown is essentially, well, 16 bars? No, let me count that out correctly. Because the voice starts after 2 bars. Here. So from here, this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. And so after 8, then the climax starts, and the climax lasts for 8 bars as well. Pretty standard. So right here we have the drop, and the drop usually is 16 bars, but after 16 bars over here, I decided to add another little dancing piece. Young producers watching this, making EDM, you don't necessarily need to go into the second break after 16 bars. You could actually add another 8 bars if you're inspired. So over here, this is going to be going into bar number 17. So I took out the bass here, kind of like as if you're mixing. adding the bass there. And obviously in this part the bleep is off, so it sounds very different. But it's just the bleep that's muted. So the record label came back to me and said, oh, we need Preme's vocals in there as well if we want to have Universal's approval on this. And so I ended up in the last version adding Preme's vocals in there. So then it sounded like this. She just wanna do it for the grand. You know, she just want this money in my hand. Bass. And then going into breakdown number 2 here. This is where I added a little bit of like an old R&B type of flavor with that little what is it? Gliss break here. So there's a sub drop I used on the effects, and the gliss comes from the M1. I think it's this one right here. Yeah. So I added a bit of chords here, pyramids on the Korg M1 synth. I still love the M1 synth, but I added some strings in here as well. So that's going on in the background. Obviously you hear my little bottle cap sound as well. Extra clap for the people on the dance floor and for the DJs. I do love the clap along still. So this last thing, since we're still in the arrangement, 8 bars right here. Because this is 4 bars to get used to the strings and the gliss. Here's where the vocal starts, and so this lasts 8 bars. This is the climax again, 8 bars. Going into the drop. So the second drop right here, and now you hear that little nervous bleep in there. So I used I don't think I took out the bass right here. So after 16 bars, bar 17. Well, the same little trick. I did it, yep. Adding the kick drum here. And then we have 16 bars of mixing out. What makes it feel like a mix out is just take out the bass line, just so you can hear the bass line still. But I took out the sub bass, and over here probably the bass out of the bass frequencies out of the kick drum. And so this way it feels as a proper mix out, and people will get ready as DJs to mix the track out. Very happy and proud to say that the Jackie Chan remix you've been hearing on the Spotify or iTunes is my master, and it's not that hard to master. The only thing you need to master is listening and hearing all the frequencies, trying to get that loudness of professional level tracks. And the best way to do this is to have an awesome master chain, some EQs, and the most important thing is to go back and forth with these professional tracks that you know sound great everywhere. And so this is how I did it. Okay, so the mastering of the track, I played out these tracks while testing it out, and I think it might have been a club show or a Vegas show where I played the Tujamo versus La Fuente track afterwards, and I thought, wow, this really slaps hard and I need my track to sound very similar. So from the start I will produce with my full master chain on. Theories vary. Saves me a lot of time if I just volume out a lot of the elements, and then in the end I don't need to spend super much time on mastering. And so within having it on the pre-master and the pre-master going out to the master where it's just this little T-Rex thing for monitoring the peak and the RMS and the phase as well. What I did was basically go back and forth with all these tracks. Mark Bale's team with People Freak Out doing an incredible job. And I would go back and forth, and in the meantime adding an EQ1, try and make it the same, adding an EQ2, adding an EQ3, and you know what? I'll just take out all these EQs for a minute so you can hear what it actually sounded like. You know, probably coming straight out of an airplane. Having done no mastering at all, and so comparing it to this, I heard there was a bit of bass missing. There were some heavy disturbing peaks right here. So I took those all out, and I just kept comparing. The job Ale Mora did on mastering the Milkshake track was a really awesome job as well. So went back and forth with this one as well. So then you go back and forth a lot of times, adding EQs, adding a new canvas every time, and even, so see here, I take the frequencies out, then I probably floor test it, and there needs to be more frequencies here, and so it's like a constant. It's almost like, I really don't want to say Picasso. Let's say a paint job, just painting over and over and over again until it sounds right. In the end, the amount of EQs you use doesn't really matter as long as the end result is awesome and as long as the CPU of your computer keeps up. And there's various ways. There's been projects where I actually took out all the EQs and I started again and completely did it with like one EQ. So methods vary, theories vary as well. What's most important is how it sounds in the end and if it rocks your dance floors, or in my case, my dance floor, and this remix has been doing it for me all this summer. So if you didn't hear the remix, make sure to check the link below as well. I'm gonna leave a link to the extended mix as well for all you DJs that have been asking for it. But now you can see how I work it in Ableton and how I make this. And so if you like what you saw, make sure to give me a thumbs up. Next week, a very special subject. But before I tell you what it is, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now so you don't miss out. Next week, I'm going to interview my two booking agents. My booking agent for the world at Syndicate the Agency. My booking agent for North America and South America as well. I'm going to ask them what a booking agent exactly does. Why should I need a booking agent? You're gonna find out next week, so make sure you stay tuned. Until then, L's up, rave safely, and salute.